Hi, Takeo. How you doing?
Hi, Lee.
Thank you for
Doing
being
good.
here and sharing with us some of your competition stories. To get us started, can you just introduce yourself to everybody?
I'm from Japan originally. I am Japanese, but I grew up in both coasts of the U.S., Portland, Oregon, and New York, and Japan. So I have a kind of tricultural background. Um, and I grew up watching American movies, basically, and then James Bond movies, Clint Eastwood movies. Then I moved back to Japan when I was in high school, became a film buff. Um, Discovered art films, and then I moved to New York to go to NYU Film School. And there, actually, in New York, I discovered Japanese cinema in a kind of weird reversal. And my film at NYU won Best Film, Best Director, Best Screenwriting, and got a lot of attention. But I needed to make a living, so I worked as a production assistant on Japanese productions for TV shows and commercials, shooting in the United States because I was bilingual. And I did that and rose up in the ranks in that sub industry in New York to become a writer director on a weekly comedy show, um, which I wrote and produced 200 episodes of over 4 years. And I burnt
Very
out on
cool.
that. And I couldn't do that anymore. And I also wanted to work in the American industry, film industry, um, because that was the whole point of moving to New York in a way. So I joined a fledgling indie production company called Antidote Films, which grew to produce Sundance hits like The Kids Are All Right, 13, Laurel Canyon. And I continue to work there while about 5 years ago, I started getting back into the creative side, screenwriting. And actually, my first script was recently a page finalist last year. And that was where my manager found me. He was one of the judges and loved my script, and he signed me off of it. So that is it in a nutshell.
It's a good nutshell. Now, Paige wasn't the first competition that you submitted to. You've submitted to over the years. What were you looking for when deciding if to submit or not submit to a particular competition?
Well, I tried to target basically the top, I'd say half a dozen, based on some of your recommendations. Nichols being the top, and Page, Final Draft, Austin, Launchpad, and my third script was a Nickel finalist. So that really got me a lot of attention in terms of just everyone was requesting it and wanted to read it. And wasn't the most commercial script, so I didn't get a rep through that. But that was my strategy to focus on the most prestigious contest that I knew would try to get my scripts out to industry producers or reps.
You mentioned having been recently signed through the Page competition where you were a finalist. The script that you submitted there wasn't its first foray into competitions. How did your manager find it, and how did you guys come together? Tell me what that process looked like.
That was a little unusual in that it was the first script that I officially wrote on my own and finished and felt good about. It didn't do that well in contests. My other scripts are doing much better, but I did a rewrite based on notes I got, and then it was a finalist in Page, and he was a finalist judge. It didn't win, but soon after the announcement of the winners, he contacted me, said he loved the script and let's talk. And I really hit it off with him because I just felt like he understood what I was doing and someone I could hang out with. And also, my entertainment lawyer had worked with him on with several deals, and they shake clients. So that bolstered his confidence in my, I guess, professionalism. So and then a couple of weeks later, he said he wanted to sign me, and we're about to take out my first script.
So it seems like you've been writing a lot, submitting a lot, but it really, when it finally got there, it generated what you were looking for in terms of access to somebody in the industry who wanted to work with you. Have you continued submitting all of your scripts all of the time? Were you more selective about what was your approach to submitting to competitions when competition deadlines came around?
I actually had a like an annual schedule. Basically, once a year, on average, I would have a feature script. I focus on features, and I looked at all the deadlines, usually the final deadline, and plotted out, I'm going to have a draft at this date, and I'm going to have a draft for this date, and that was one of the things about the contest that was at the beginning very useful for me, was having the deadlines, because without a deadline, it's, I mean, you can work on something forever, or you can procrastinate on writing a script forever. So that was really helpful. And sometimes I would get notes from the contest or from other readers, and then I'd do a rewrite, and then the next year I'd submit, and I just kept doing that. I'd rewrite and submit it every year. And so first year it was one script, the second year is two scripts, and third year is the three scripts, and I just lather, rinse, and repeat.
Lastly, do you have any advice for screenwriters who are looking to capitalize on the access offered to winners and finalists from competitions, how to best approach competitions, where your writing needs to be when you're submitting? Do you have any thoughts or advice there?
I would say not all competitions are created equal. So I would be do your research in terms of which competitions have provided access to industry people for scripts that either won or finalists. And I would target those because it could really add up, especially if you have a couple of scripts. And it is a numbers game, so I tried to submit all of the scripts I had every year, but only to those competitions that I felt there's, like I mentioned, the top 5 or 6 competitions that generally people regard as, active in terms of getting your script read and even setting up meetings. I got a lot of general meetings out of some of the competitions too.
That's great stuff. Thank you. This is what we needed. I really appreciate you talking to me today.